With the possible corporate takeover looming on the horizon for Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot, it's time to take a look back at 2016, both good and bad for the division, and more importantly, work on a plan to keep this game afloat without squashing the collective voice of the remaining player base. What's going on, agents? It's LtBuzzLitebeer, and in today's Division video, it's time to dive headfirst into the history of the Division from as far back as February 2016 through the analysis of public statements, sales figures over all three platforms, and the vision of Ubisoft as of late. Through all of this exploration, we can then start to discuss an alternative plan to implementing RNG mystery boxes into the division that can not only support the direction Ubisoft is attempting to take, but also can provide a transparent purchase program that provides the player base with features that they can support. For those of you that are looking to skip through the history portion of this video and get right into our proposed alternatives to the RNG mystery boxes, I have included a timestamp in the video description below. To begin to understand the highs and lows of the division, one only needs to start with the hype leading up to its launch and the record-breaking first week sales of $330 million, eclipsing the previous record held by Destiny, which launched in 2014, to a then record $325 million. First day sales were reported to have topped the 1 million copies sold mark, which is absolutely stunning for a new IP, especially when you consider the fact that it sold that many copies in a 24-hour period. Not only did the division break all existing sales records for Ubisoft, but it also set records for player engagement, passing the 1.2 million peak concurrent players over the game's first weekend and amassing a staggering 100 million hours logged in its first week of existence. According to the NDP Group, steady sales through the end of the year earned the division a solid third place on their 2016 top 10 games list based on dollar sales, which combines physical sales with digital sales. Only Call of Duty, Infinite Warfare, and Battlefield 1, developed and created by Activision Blizzard and EA, respectively, were able to outdistance Ubisoft's The Division. According to VGCharts.com, an online video game sales tally website, The Division sold nearly 4.2 million copies on PS4, 2.4 million copies on Xbox One, and 437,000 copies on PC, amassing an impressive 7 million plus copies sold in 2016. At its heart, this looter-shooter offered up a truly dynamic visual experience that literally puts you into a full-scale replica of New York. Taking full advantage of the Snowdrop engine's capabilities, the design team created a superbly crafted environment of a post-pandemic world that, even close to a year and a half after launch, still impresses me with its attention to detail. However, to own and play the division is to experience what can only be characterized as a split personality, and it is this dichotomy that quickly polarized the community. Bold design choices like separating each individual player onto their own PvE server versus the more popular communal servers like Destiny quickly isolated players and heightened the sense of the grind. In addition, and even more polarizing, the Dark Zone was introduced to the player base as a lawless environment that gave players the ability to engage in PvP if they chose to in a quasi-free-for-all setting in either groups or solo. Adding to the mayhem of the DZ is a forced PvE element, and this lack of an isolated PvP-only arena quickly fostered one of the most toxic and divided communities in recent times. The community reacted by either embracing these bold design choices or gradually moved on to newer titles, and referring back to the sales numbers from VGCharts.com, we can see that although the total year-to-date sales for the division were impressive, they were heavily front-loaded into the initial sales, and after a 10-week period since launch date, started to slow down dramatically. Based on these sales figures, approximately 77% of total 2016 sales were encompassed in that initial 10-week period from launch. Through all of this, the design team remained resolute in their vision for the Division, and through the Season Pass, loyalists gained access to the Underground, Survival, and most recently, Last Stand expansion packs. In addition, the player base has seen multiple updates, 4 incursions, 3 legendary missions, and coming in August 2017, we will be introduced to commendations and global events. With all of these positives, strong first-year sales, a gorgeous and incredibly detailed open-world environment, solid gunplay, and a slow but steady release of new content, what has happened to the Division to get us to the point of installing a premium vendor in Update 1.6 and the newly unveiled RNG mystery box vanity caches for Update 1.7, especially when we have seen public statements to the contrary as far back as February 2016. To understand the frustrations of a large portion of the player base and their mistrust of gaming companies and microtransactions, you need to look at this public statement from Ubisoft community manager Nachai Strappers and this tweet from February 26, 2016, where it was announced that the Division will indeed not feature microtransactions or any pay-to-win feature. In addition, at a press conference nearly a month prior to Strappers' remarks on January 15, 2016, Eurogamer asked the Division's creative director Magnus Jansen whether the game will be supported by DLC, microtransactions, or both. It's definitely just the one, the DLC, said Jansen. I don't know if there's a globally agreed definition of the word microtransactions, but you don't pay to win or advance or anything like that. We have DLC plans, which we're not talking about now, and obviously you'll pay for that, but in addition to that, there's no microtransactions as I define them. In a follow-up statement by Ubisoft to help clarify Jansen's statement, they stated, Magnus' statement is correct. There will be no microtransactions at all, not even for vanity items. Vanity items will be sold as DLC through the regular first-party store. The player base was okay with these DLC vanity packs for such items like the Marine Forces, Sports Fan, Upper East Side, Let It Snow, and Streets of New York outfit packs ranging from the standard $4.99 up to $14.99. The transactions could be finalized through their console stores or through the Uplay or Steam stores for PC and were built on the standard transaction procedures of view the content, see the price, and make an informed decision to purchase or pass on the transaction. It seems that Ubisoft has found a way to characterize these types of transactions as DLC, as they are not technically in the game via standard vendor system. However, that all changed in early January 2017 when, with the installation of Update 1.6, Ubisoft installed into the base of operations a premium vendor selling vanity items through microtransactions, despite previous promises that no such thing would be in the game. Premium credits were added to the game as the accepted currency for purchasing these vanity items, but Ubisoft made sure that these credits could not be earned in-game. Now, Payday 2 developer Overkill was blasted back in 2015 after adding microtransactions to the game, despite them making statements incredibly similar to Ubisoft's. This caused such an uproar from the gaming community that the decision was rolled back. Looking at 2017 in a nutshell, it has seen greatly reduced sales for the Division, and according to VGCharts.com, has seen fewer than 240,000 copies sold across all 3 platforms combined from year start through June. In addition, the Steam charts have shown significantly lower player counts on the Division as far back as May 2016 and only showed brief spikes when a new update was introduced, but has settled into the 3,000 to 4,000 average player count. So why the introduction of an in-game microtransaction system in January 2017 and a monetized RNGambling mystery box loot cache system that looks and feels like digital gambling soon to come in August? To answer that, we need to go back to my initial video intro statement and to an article that was published in GamesIndustry.biz on Tuesday, August 1st. It is widely known that Guillemot, CEO and co-founder of Ubisoft, is in the fight of his life to save the company he helped create from corporate takeover, and this has been ongoing for 2 years. French media giant Vivendi, once a parent of Activision Blizzard, now holds 27% of Ubisoft's share capital as of last month, with French law dictating that it must make an offer to buy the company once its stake reaches 30%. Reports back in April claimed Vivendi is determined to take over Ubisoft this year. In comparison, Guillemot holds just 13.6% of Ubisoft's shares. In addition, in Ubisoft's latest investor briefing, it was disclosed that nearly half of Ubisoft's income is gained through in-game microtransactions, and Guillemot noted that 2018-19 will consolidate our new business model, which is much more recurring and more profitable and is now significantly less exposed to new releases. With these two revealing pieces of information, we can now see what the corporate vision for Ubisoft is for 2017 and moving forwards. Now, plainly stated, they plan on making even more money than in the past by releasing fewer game titles and by cashing in on microtransactions. In addition, they are attempting to consolidate their capital by investing much less in developing new games, which can take years to create and bring to market, but instead, Ubisoft's corporate vision to maximize their return on investment is to bring fewer games to market and instead cash in big on the microtransactions, which are currently accounting for nearly half their yearly earnings. So where do we, the loyal player base for the division, fit into this corporate vision laid out by Ubisoft? Clearly, they have sent down a corporate directive to Massive and the rest of the studios involved with the development of the division to step up microtransaction income, and clearly the premium vendor is not producing enough income to satisfy Ubisoft's sales goals, or they would not now be introducing encrypted caches in addition to the premium vendor system. Ubisoft and Massive can see that they have a sensitive subject on their hands, and media like the public petition organized by Upper Echelon Gaming, posts to the Ubisoft forums, and videos by noted YouTuber 21Kiloton have shown that there is a portion of the player base that sees no place for RNGambling loot caches in our game. Now, I have been in contact with the dev team and have been asked to present suitable alternatives to the encrypted cache RNGambling mystery box system, and I took this request very seriously. Whether or not they will take my alternative seriously is another matter, and I can only hope that the dev team will utilize my team's efforts to present these entirely transparent and beneficial microtransaction alternatives for Update 1.7. In this final portion of my video, I will lay out 5 alternatives to RNG mystery box loot caches, and again, I cannot solely claim responsibility for this list of alternatives, and will allow the other members of my team to reveal themselves should they make that decision. So without further delay, let's jump right into these 5 alternatives. Firstly, new players are needed in order to bolster the player counts. As referring back to the Steam charts, we can see that player counts are considerably diminished in comparison to those of launch month March 2016. Upon researching the initial cost of the division, we can see there are wildly fluctuating figures among all of the normal purchase sites. For the Gold Edition, which includes the base game, Season Pass, and an exclusive National Guard set, a player that is considering purchasing the division can quickly become confused and skeptical of the differing prices displayed. PSN Store currently has a 7-day 65% off sale, and the Gold Edition can be purchased for $31.49, while Uplay, Amazon, and Steam are all still showing the Gold Edition for purchase at $89.99. This is what the game sold for in March 2016, and in our opinion needs to be permanently reduced across all platforms to a set price of $29.99. This is not a game selling in its first month on the market, but rather a game that is nearly a year and a half old and is still being sold at week 1 prices? Reducing the price to $29.99 across all platforms and only offering the Gold Edition is a bargain for players that have never played the division, and will attract many new players to our game while reducing confusion as to which edition to purchase. New players will expose a new cross-section of players to the DLC packs and premium vendor, and will not only gain you the initial profits from the sale of the game, will also net you increased microtransactions through the standard premium vendor monetization system. Secondly, allow players to have the ability to rent their very own servers. This was a feature that I truly enjoyed while playing Battlefield 3, and it was allowed across all platforms. Having the ability to rent and personalize a server for private or ranked public use will generate necessary income for Ubisoft and will give players the ultimate ability to market and monitor themselves. Now, it is no secret that PC players are not happy with what they claim is your total lack of a competent anti-cheat system. A player that has rented their own Last Stand or Survival server can not only proudly display their own avatar and server rules while loading into the server, but can also act as a true in-game admin. When playing Battlefield, Punkbuster was used to monitor potential hackers, but players could also ask the admin of a rented server to look into a suspected hacker through the use of the server chat bar. If a player was found to be cheating, the admin who had rented the server had the authority to immediately kick the offending player from the server, therefore maintaining a respectable and fair gaming environment. An acceptable rental fee would be as follows: 1 month for $9.99, 2 months $18.99, and given a 3-month discounted price of $24.99. You already have the servers. Players are looking for a fair PvP environment. To my team, this sounds like a win-win scenario for both parties. Thirdly, offer players an instant level up option for when first starting a new agent. Both hardened agents and players that have just purchased the Division can benefit from this option. Not every player has the time to not only min-max their primary agent, but has the ability to do the same for their second, third, or fourth characters. Players can appreciate the playthrough once, but the overall grind from level 1 to 30 can be time consuming, especially to those that do not have friends with max level characters that agree to help them power level. In addition, the servers and matchmaking system for agents rank 1 to 30 are scarcely populated and essentially leave you attempting the entire campaign solo. What we propose is essentially a free pass token that can be purchased for $3.99 and can be applied to whatever character you want to instantly level to max rank 30. With the upcoming installation of global events, rookie and experienced players alike will need an additional character or characters in order to handle the gear we will be looting. In addition, players will greatly appreciate the ability to assign specific gear sets to one of their 4 characters, as their caches simply cannot handle all of the gear necessary to juggle 14 complete gear sets, mods, weapons, and exotic gear. Fourthly, give players the ability to purchase materials like large amounts of fabric, electronics, or weapon parts at the premium vendor to use at the crafting table, as a player can quickly burn through huge amounts of these 3 material types while attempting to craft that perfect weapon or gear piece. Keep the price low for these crafting caches, as they are in direct competition with your blueprint vendor, who will sell you the like for Phoenix credits. Offering players who are completely out of high-end materials a full restock for a reasonable price can be seen as beneficial to the player base and is a straightforward and transparent transaction system. And finally, give the players the ability to upload their own logos to the cloud and use them on certain items in the game. Using my logo, for instance, I could upload my image, pay a one-time fee of $4.99, and would then have the ability to attach that logo to my weapons, gear like my ballistic shield, and even one of these masks we have been hearing so much about for update 1.7. If a player is willing to pay $9.99, upload the player's logo to the game coding and randomly display them in the real world and dark zone via the standard or electronic billboard system. It could randomly be activated through a proximity sensor and could even be applied to the numerous electronic road signs directing traffic. Running through the dark zone and seeing your gamertag logo displayed on a giant sign on the side of a building would be a mind-blowing experience. Hardcore and rookie players alike would love this level of personalization and could lead to many new and interesting screenshots uploaded to Twitter. On behalf of my entire team, we respectfully ask that the dev, design, and live teams thoroughly look over these alternatives and seriously consider them in place of the proposed RNG mystery box loot caches. Implementing a gambling style system is not beneficial to both parties, and it can be seen as shady. We are confident that our alternatives will not only net you the necessary income to maintain the game's sustainability, but will attract new players to the Division while offering quality of life features to the existing player base in a fully transparent monetization system. In addition, we collectively like your design concepts associated with the encrypted caches and applaud your efforts to give longtime agents the ability to earn vanity items through grinding for the key fragments in the open world. but ask that you remove the monetized portion of this cache system as it is simply not needed. You stated in the last State of the Game address that you expected quite a few players to be getting these items from the encrypted caches purely through playing the game, getting keys, and unlocking their items that way, and it raises this final question. If you were expecting a majority of players to not purchase keys and prefer to earn them through the open world farming methods, then why monetize this encrypted cache system at all? For now, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, agents, and would love to hear what you thought about our proposed alternatives to the RNG mystery box loot caches. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comment section below. In addition, if you could take the time to rate the video with a huge thumbs up, it would be greatly appreciated. If you want some more LtBuzzLitebeer and my Division content in your lives, make sure to pound that sub button and follow me on Twitter at LtBuzzLitebeer. And remember, for my channel, likes, comments, subs are loved. Until my next The Division video, this has been LtBuzzLitebeer saying peace out.